Okay. Do you want me to continue, or do you want to try a break here?
Testing, testing.
Let me log into YouTube. All right. Well, do we want to continue with our public participation, or do we want to try to fix this?
I think we can continue, and I'll work on it.
Okay, I apologize, everyone. We seem to be having technical difficulties with our streaming. At this time, we will continue with our public participation. If you wish to address the board, please fill out a card with your name and address. And remember, you'll have 3 minutes, and we will try to get you to wrap up soon after that. Tom McHugh. Mr. McHugh, welcome. Who sat in this seat many, many years ago? That's right. Yep.
The long hours are really difficult. The treatment they have to do. It all happens. I just want to look at it. I know I represent a whole bunch of people. Thank you guys for the work. Appreciate all that you've done. We wish you all the best of luck. And then I'm looking across the board over there. I see some guys over there that now will become the veterans. And I'm going to guess we're with hands up too. And maybe congratulations on your re-election. I hope you guys will continue to do a great job, and good luck with the superintendent, Mr. Rebellia. Good luck with the superintendent's search, and I know that will do well. So congratulations, and thanks again for all your service.
Thank you, Tom. Tom, did you see the agenda tonight? Yeah. Well, did you say good luck with the superintendent search tonight?
Oh.
Yeah. Okay. Jason Burke? Is that on? Can people hear in the back? No. Use your controllers. Yeah, use your. Sorry.
So, hi, Dr. Vitale, Mr. Verabelli, President Michalski, the board, everybody in attendance. My name is Jason Burke. I am a 18-year veteran teacher in the district. Also the vice president of the Teachers Association. I'm here to say welcome to the new superintendent. I see that a little bit out of order here with tonight's agenda, but whoever you may be. Just like to say, we really look forward to a working, healthy, amicable, continual relationship as we move forward to make this district as great as it can be. We are dedicated to that effort, and we just want to say if there's anything that we can do to make that transition, this transition to us, any easier. The lines of communication are open. Tom Lavelle, board president, is not able to be here. Just I'm in his place, and I just want to say again, welcome to the district on behalf of the teachers, the nurses, the counselors, and the specialists of our district. Welcome.
Well, I don't believe it is, but.
Testing.
I think it is.
John, can you hear me?
Mhm.
I'll speak loud so everybody back there can hear me. Can you hear me?
Yes. Thank you. No?
I think he has.
My name is Tom Shan. I'm a resident of Waverly. And just to give, there are a lot of people here tonight, and I'm glad to see. So just to give you a little bit of background, I first came here back in July, I think, to inquire whether there was anything in the Abington Heights curriculum pertaining to CRT. And I was assured there was not. So in that sense, I have asked the school board to produce a written policy forbidding the teaching of anything that is even the principle of CRT in Abington Heights instructions. And so I'm here tonight to ask again, have you done anything about producing that policy?
So, Mr. Sheehan, the board is going to discuss it. As you know, we're going to be having appointing a new superintendent. We are hopefully going to be studying curriculum and looking at all curriculum. So,
You know, I have a hearing problem.
oh.
I
Okay.
apologize. Go ahead. Go ahead.
So we are appointing a new superintendent.
Yes.
And we are charging him with working with Dr. Vitale and everyone else to post all our curriculum. And that would include anything related, I wouldn't say related to it, but we are going to look at all our curriculum and certainly take that into consideration when they are looking at it. But there has been no policy yet.
All right.
So just
Thank
give
you.
it time.
All right,
Okay.
that's all. I have some things to hand out, and I'll be brief.
Okay.
But and what I'm handing out now is basically a history of CRT, SEL, DEI. Is not something new at all. It has been in existence under other names for the last 20 or 30 years. So and in line with my request to ask for a written policy from the board, Abington Heights School Board, I also have here copies of a model legislation that would be intended to be distributed to the state legislators. As I said, as a model. Now, there's if you get copies of this model legislation, I mean, you certainly can read the entire thing. The reason I brought this in tonight is that in section 3, section 3, particularly subsections 2 and 3, are something that I think the school board, local school board, might want to look at if they're considering writing producing a written policy preventing teaching of CRT or any of its principles. So I brought this in for you tonight to read. I know you have things on the plan tonight, so I don't want to take up any more time than I have to, but I would appreciate it if you would read this stuff, take it under consideration, and maybe, what we heard tonight about curriculum, next time of the meeting, maybe something worth telling me. Okay? Well,
Let's see if we-
Okay, Mr. Mirabelli, may we have our superintendent?
Yes, just give me one moment to find my notes. Okay, thank you, Mrs. Brashalski. And I wanted to start by saying again, to echo Mr. McHugh's comments to our outgoing board members who I think about this time 10 years ago were asking me very tough questions in this very room, interviewing me for the job. So, since that time, you've challenged us, you've made us better, you've asked tough questions, you've always been supportive and always been very helpful. And I can't thank you enough for the opportunity. And I really want to wish you all the best. So thank you, and thank you. So with that being said, I guess I'm on the job here about 3.5 weeks, and we've done a lot of listening, a lot of talking, and a lot of outreach. And we've had a number of folks, some in the audience, who've reached out to us with concerns and ideas and questions. And I just want to say thank you. Thank you to everyone who's reached out. I've gained a lot of perspective. I know our administrative team has been having some conversations, many conversations and many emails with a lot of stakeholders, and some very tough topics. And I have to say that whether we agree, we disagree, we're listening, and I've gained a great deal from the conversations. So thank you to anyone who's reached out, and I think our administrative team would echo that as well. So we do value the feedback, and we are listening. One of the things that we listened to was a number of questions on quarantine procedure, and we follow a pretty rigid procedure prescribed by various authorities, Department of Health, CDC, but I think we left some feeling that it may have been, less transparent than perhaps it could have been. So we started with, let's make, instead of a written policy that's pieced here and pieced there, and it's all on the website, we thought maybe let's make a flow chart that people can actually look at, see, understand easily. And we posted that flow chart. We've received immediate feedback that it needed improvement. We improved it. And then we received more immediate feedback that it needed improvement, and we improved it. So it's still not perfect, I'm sure, but it's a small example of, valuing the feedback and trying to, perhaps take the mystery out of something that really is impacting our kids, and that is quarantine and COVID cases. And we're going to talk about that in a second. I think Dr. Vitale's got some data available for me on our presentation. So we'll highlight that quickly as I promised. I provide some statistics, but in the interest of moving through, I wanted to talk about. I get a lot of questions about closing school, and we talked last board meeting about closing school and what we're going to do in terms of a snow day. And I thought we were pretty clear about what we do there as far as, snow for a real snow would cause for a real snow day. Perhaps an icier day would cause a virtual snow day. But then we received questions regarding when do you close a building with regard to COVID cases? And the Department of Health has very clear guidelines as to what would cause them to possibly recommend school closure. And the numbers, the thresholds are much higher this year than they were last. I think that is what leaves a lot of people to be confused. And those guidelines are very easily found on the Pennsylvania Department of Education website. Which is a hard website to navigate. So I just Google it. I say PDE school closures in Google, and you'll find it there. And when you go there, you'll find that the threshold is 5% positive cases divided by the number of student and staff in the building, with a floor of 25 cases in small buildings. And you can find that there. Now, pretty straightforward. There are some other factors that are listed, and we are in constant contact with the Department of Health for guidance as well. So I just wanted to make that note because I've received a very large volume of calls and emails on this topic. So I thought I would elaborate where you would find that information should you be looking. Another topic we've touched on in a few previous meetings is COVID testing, and specifically COVID testing in the school or performed by the school or in some fashion, testing provided by a state authority in association with the school. We talked about pool tests, and that is something we said we were not going to do. Okay, so I just want to be clear what we're talking about. We're talking about using the state prescribed vendor, which I believe is free or at little cost, to allow testing in the school, either performed by a third party or performed by our own folks. We're investigating it now. I just received an email back at about 4 o'clock before this meeting today. So we're going to investigate that, and we're going to look to make that partnership to help some students get back to school quicker, for one. Sometimes a barrier to entry in students coming back to school may be a financial one, where they perhaps are not able to get a rapid test, which can cost, you see what the retail cost could be, $20, $30, and to have a physician run one could be upwards of $75 in total. So we want to make these tests more accessible, and we want to make education as it relates to quarantine more accessible. And we think this partnership will help, and I'll have more details to come. Does anyone have questions on that topic? Okay. So I also wanted to note, we have, as I had noted, that we have a potential vaccine clinic date picked out, and we have firmed that up for the staff on Friday, November the 19th. That is at the middle school following dismissal. So that'll be for staff only. And then we have a community vaccine clinic on November the 20th. That will not be advertised through the school, and we'll send that out via remind. That is completely optional. We will be hosting the clinic there, and that would be for the community at large for folks 5 and up. And finally, I wanted to give a quick review on masking and the quick timeline as to where we sit, because a lot has happened in the courts with regard to appeals. So just if we can rewind the tape back to August 19th, that is when the board's update to the health and safety plan occurred. And in that update, we were requiring indoor masking at all Abington Heights School District buildings for staff and students, and also while riding in district provided transportation. Now, no matter what I say here with these updates, district provided transportation has a federal component. So that masking requirement, as I understand it, will remain regardless of what happens. So on August 31st, Governor Wolf and the Department of Health announced a statewide masking mandate for K-12 schools effective September 7th, which superseded what the board had done. On November 8th, Governor Wolf announced a statewide mandate for K-12 schools expires on January 17th. On November 10th, the Pennsylvania Commonwealth Court throws out the Pennsylvania masking mandate. The same day or the next morning, I believe November 10th, the Pennsylvania administration files appeal to the court's decision, triggering a stay, leaving masking in place. November 16th, yesterday, Commonwealth Court orders statewide masking mandate K through 12 to expire on December the 4th, which brings us to today. So I forwarded to the board some legal opinions from a solicitor on this matter, but I think the timeline and the chronology of events sort of brings you to where we are and where we may be headed. No one has weighed in on the courts have been clear, so the decision was clear with regard to what's legal with the state mandate, but I don't believe anyone's waded into the local mandate, which is something that the board will need to be giving some thought to going forward. So that is an update. I don't know if anyone had any comments there, but I know it's an important topic that will have to be addressed in the near future. I do have one slide on the data, but just for the sake of moving through the superintendent's report, I sort of truncated, move that to the end. So I can show the data. Okay. Yes. So Maggie will put that on the screen in just a minute. Here we go. So we put together some data, and again, this all data we had, and the COVID data is, you can look at it at snapshots of time, periods of time, cumulative. There's a lot of different ways to look at it, but we received a request to have this information presented and from the public, and here we are with the information. So the first thing at the top here, we see the COVID positive cases. You can see we're trending significantly upward in September with 17 cases, October of this school year with 30, and in November, month to date, we're at 93 cases across the district for a total of 140 cases, and which is a high number. And in the quarantines, you can see that trending right along as well. 6 quarantines in September, 44 in October, 284 in November, and for a total of 334 quarantines, which is a very high amount of quarantining. And we're looking at different ways to adjust and try to limit quarantines, particularly when students are turning up negative. Now you can also see at the bottom right that there are a number of students who were quarantined and ended up being positive after the fact there. So, and I also wanted to note the active quarantines as of the close of business yesterday, there are 142 or 124 active quarantines with 17 positive cases on our 14-day rolling window. So,
So this is the modified rules and benefits.
correct. So it's the numbers are obviously increasing. We are in contact with the Department of Health. They've reviewed our data, and we'll continue to be in contact. And what they're looking at are the guidelines that I specified on the building. So we hope these come down, but we're monitoring them closely. We have 8-10 individuals district-wide just constantly working on this. So a lot of resources dedicated to tracking this quarantine. So we do have a challenging spot at the middle school in particular, yes. So that's what I had, and I know Dr. Vitale had some solutions and different things to discuss on the education side.
So since that microphone's not working. Okay, so curricular updates. So we're going to talk about the English language arts updates at Kansas Tech, and then the English curriculum update 7 to 12 that we're working on. And we're also going to explore options on going over instructions and go over 2 options that we recorded. So first is the update on English language arts. So as you know, we implemented the program in Wisdom. And then last year we also added to that. So we added a phonemic awareness component, which is how words are broken into sounds, the parts of sounds. We're continuing with our phonics component, which is foundations K to 2. And then for reading, writing, speaking, and listening, we're using written wisdom in grades K through 6. So what we did, so at the end of last school year, I took kind of teacher feedback of how are we, where are we at. So what they said about the program is that they think the text is good, it's rich and engaging, there's a good, strong writing component, it allows for critical thinking, it's a good, consistent routine for students, and there's a strong speaking and listening component that allows for a lot of learning. The concerns that our teachers had is that they need more professional development. Kindergarten needed more support because it's written for an all-day kindergarten program, and we have a half-day program. There were lots of answer keys and pacing, but pacing is always a concern at the implementation year, especially that we were virtual for 7 months. So this is how we responded. So we're considering last year as kind of, that was not our implementation year. This is truly our implementation year of what we wisdom at K to 6. We rewrote the kindergarten program to align with our actual instructional minutes. So we brought teachers in and reading specialists this summer. We looked at the program, we looked at the key content that we had to address, and we rewrote it to align with the instructional minutes that we offer our students. And we've been working with the teachers on the resources that they need, how to pace, and on the assessments, and how to grade written wisdom. So we're doing a lot of work and putting a lot of energy to make sure that the program is successful. We have also offered a significant amount of professional development. We've already done 2 sessions. We have another one coming up about annotating lessons, so how to look at a lesson and really prepare for that lesson. And then we'll be doing a writing professional development offered by Written Wisdom in April. We also thought it was really important to start to reach out to our families and let them know about Written Wisdom and what it looks like. So first, we surveyed our families to see if they had an interest. They overwhelmingly had an interest to learn more. So our elementary principals are currently planning an event on December 7th, I think it might be December 6th, that might be a typo, for elementary. And basically, they're going to give a breakdown of those 3 programs, like a Henry program for phonemic awareness, Foundations program for phonics, and Written Wisdom for reading, speaking, listening, and writing. And then they're going to do model lessons for the parents, so the parents can understand, because there's a lot of language that's very specific with these programs. And we think that it's important that when kids come home and they talk about blue sounds, that our families understand what blue sounds are. So we're working on putting that together, and elementary parents, you should be seeing the information coming home about that. Yes?
Professional development.
No, because what we're doing is we're being really strategic in offering professional development, having our teachers work through that specific skill in the program, supporting them, and then introducing another professional development and working through that. So you don't want to offer too much new information because then it becomes overwhelming and really target specific. Any other questions? So the board was very generous to allow us to do a curriculum writing process where Dr. Kyle is working on curriculum with us, and she's out of the class, and we were able to hire an LTA. So thank you for that. It is a phenomenal program, and truly we are doing significant amount of work. So we've gathered the operational curriculum, and basically there's a written curriculum and the operational curriculum, which is what you actually do. So you'd like them to be in alignment, but it's not always. So we've gathered from all the teachers what their operational curriculum is, and Dr. Brown has put them in beautiful charts for us, so we can see where we're at. And now we need to align them to the standards, make sure we're adjusting all the standards, and then see where we have gaps, and then fill in those gaps, and then we will have the curriculum. We've created course and grade reading lists. So what we found was teachers were choosing books because they had that autonomy, and we respect that, we want them to have that autonomy. But we had simplicity. So there were some books in 7th grade that were being used in 10th grade for a higher level of content and a deeper dive into it, but still simplicity that the students were reading the same stuff. And we don't want that. So we created a really comprehensive, what every course in every grade is going to have a reading list. And we also developed the process to vet any suggested or recommended text. So our teachers wanted to keep the text relevant and continually use new books or books that are fresher for our students, that have a variety of voices, and that everyone is represented in our reading list. But we just don't want our teachers to choose it because it should be a collaborative process. So like right now, we're looking at one book, and we have students with parent support reading the book along with teachers and multiple members of the administrative team. And we're going to do multiple check-ins throughout as we read this book and talk about it. We talk about the content, talk about the literature, and really work to see if it's appropriate. And we created a metric for approval. And if all three stakeholder groups are in agreement, then we want to move forward and recommend that book. So we've worked on that system, and really curriculum is really about creating a system and a cyclical system and a process to make sure that we're ready and looking at our resources. So it is going really, really well. Any questions about that? So mode of instruction options. So first we're going to talk about a cyber option. Second, we're going to talk about a quarantine option for students who are quarantined. This is where I was going to talk about that. Thank you for talking about that. No, please. So last spring, we had talked about a third-party option, and it was decided that we were not going to move forward. And basically, what we heard from our families is they would like us to explore this option. I have spent a significant amount of time in the spring vetting the best. And let me be clear, this is not the best education students will receive. This is the best cyber education. So there is a clear difference. It's not a solid actions in place, you're in the classroom experience, but it's the best of what we have. We would prefer a third-party vendor, but the students would still be considered having to pay students. They would all be offered live in-person instruction from highly qualified Pennsylvania certified teachers. For elementary, it would be 4 days of live instruction. For secondary, it would be 2 days of live instruction per content area. They offer live tutoring help for teachers from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. And what we would do is if the board approves the contract, we would move forward and schedule a parent information day, multiple. They would be virtual, and parents can ask questions. That way they can make an informed decision. If parents then decide to move forward, then we would enroll students, and then there would be another orientation run. So they would have kind of 2 experiences. What we like about Benton is that there is a 30-day grace period, that if on day 29, the student says, no, I don't like this option, they can come back to the district and we will not pay for their seats. So they have a month to file. What we are recommending is that we start this in the second semester and see how it goes. And basically pay by the number of students enrolled. So the contract we have in front of you is by one, so one student, and obviously that would be we only pay for the student by the semester. If we decided that we liked this program, then we could investigate it for next school year. The price obviously goes up to the semester price, not the full year price.
So the option is for you to do a full semester. This is just for students who are in quarantine or otherwise.
This is a cyber option.
This
For
is a-
students who want to be 100% cyber. This is scheduling courses so kids put them in and out because there's sequential courses. The cyber option, the quarantine option is in the charge.
And this is a temporary offering or something you would offer all the time?
I would say that we would evaluate it at the end of the year, and if we felt that it was effective and the families involved were seeing the benefits of it, then we would want to continue offering it, because this would be the option to bring families back from cyber time. Elementary would be Monday through Thursday, 3 days a week, with live instruction. Secondary, and we consider secondary 6 to 12. 6 to 12, we have 2 live sessions a week per content. So reading would have 2, math would have 2, there's all kinds of stuff. So we would look at 2 different. So we would do qualitative data of how the students feel, what do they feel about things, and then we would do quantitative data and looking at how they perform. Absolutely. Mr. Allen, I think you
Where's my question before I could ask it?
have any other
I thought
questions?
you were a car now.
So you mentioned that you would have less ask a lot more than or ask. Is it COVID related?
Some of it is COVID related. Some of it is also very big going on. And as we have families withdraw from inside of charter school, we try to have conversations with them of why. And then there's various reasons. Different options and students in sports and they want to travel with their team. And there's a whole litany of reasons why people go to side charters, but this would be an option. Some of it is COVID related, but it's not.
So, I would assume if we adopt this, that we'll directly contact those families that are in cyber charter, make sure they know this option.
Absolutely. So we've already started to reach out with them last spring, and then we'll continue that growing that relationship with that program and trying to grow them.
Is that the time you get insurance with a reduction?
They are not rising substantially, but we do have those. But still, it's still that should be not that we would love to work with. There are minimum requirements. No. If one student is in the any other questions? So Mr. Mirabelli and I have heard from a lot of parents, and we still love that, about the education system. And as we look at our numbers, we certainly have a lot of students from our teachers are doing a masterful job of connecting with students and families, but the reality is there is still a finite amount of time. So what we would like to suggest is the chronic learning program. So this would be for students in quarantine. We would continue the current structure within the classroom, but we would add another way. So this is not taking anything away individual roles that are in quarantine with 4 different teachers. But it would be just another point of contact to offer our students and our families. We would suggest 3 hours at the elementary level and 3 hours at the middle school week, and 2 hours at the high school level. And then we would look and see if families felt that was more than enough, or if people were elected these times, then we could decrease the high school.
It's so, the students have to, they are getting their instruction on Google Classroom. And then they need to, so how do they get connected with these support?
So I would be connected. So what would happen is a student, once a student goes over that team, that would trigger somebody has to notify me. I would then notify the teacher. So let's say, Mrs. Smith, Johnny and Susan are now on quarantine. Here are their classes, to improve custody with them, and they will touch those families, hopefully within a 24-hour period, and set up a mutually agreeable time within reason, and start touching base with them. So almost like office hours, but a little bit more flexible than that. We're just trying to offer another option, because what we're hearing is that our parents are waiting one day, and they necessarily don't have that time during their time of the day to log in and chat with the teacher and run their contractual hours. So this might add just another layer of support to families as well as for our students. Any other questions?
And some of the, COVID funds,
I believe the COVID funds are already allocated for salaries. So
The money is sort of fungible, and we certainly recorded here that this is the type of expense that the federal government wants to see us making. So we can be very well.
any other questions or thoughts? So next month, I just wanted to go over how we're doing an alumni outreach, why we're doing it, and what it's going to look like, and what the business. Any questions or concerns?
thank you. That's excellent. Great.
Thank you, Maggie.
Maggie's fine.
May I have a motion to approve bills? On the question?
Yeah, one, there was about $17,000 for tax refund to prolong centralized refund. I don't remember ever seeing something.
So this specific tax refund, I can't speak to, but we do routinely cut refund checks. A lot of times what happens is the mortgage company will pay and the taxpayer will also pay their taxes. And we'll get a duplicate put in. The other thing that could happen is if there's an appeal that takes a number of years to go through, and then the judge or the appeal panel rules that they're due a refund, and that's usually when you decide to go on.
There's like 9 by 9 line items.
Yeah, those are the two sort of scenarios where we would kind of refund.
Hey, roll call.
Dr. Chapman? Mr. Fleming?
Yeah.
Mr. Benson?
Yes.
Mr. Terry?
Yes.
Mr. Wilson?
Yes.
Tierney? Yes. Mr. Acker? Yes. Mr. Azar? Mr. Shawnee?
Yes.
9-0.
Mr. Nademski, we have a treasurer's report?
Yes, we started the month of October with cash balance of $27,500,790. We had monthly revenues of $6,784,340, with a total cash available of $34,335,030. Net disbursements was $4,669,108, giving us a cash balance remaining from November of $29,675,922.
The motion to approve?
Second.
On the question? Roll call?
Bonnie?
Yeah.
Mr. Malinsky?
Yes.
Mrs. Terry?
Yes.
Mr. Wilson?
Yes.
Terry? Yes. Mr. Acker?
Yes.
Mr. Azar?
Yes.
Dr. Kavin? Mrs. Paschalski?
Yes.
9-0.
Mr. Norvell, you have the personnel report?
Absolutely. Consider a motion to accept the resignations of Alexis McGee and Dulce Fruhan as in items 1 and 2.
On the question? Roll call?
Mr. Fleming?
Yeah.
Mr. Malinsky?
Yes.
Mrs. Terry?
Yes.
Mr. Wilson?
Yes.
Mrs. Terry? Yes. Mr. Acker? Yes. Mr. Azar?
Yes.
Dr. Kavin? Yes. Mrs. Paschalski?
Yes.
9-0.
Consider the leave of absence for Jillian Langen as contained in number 3.
On the question? Roll call?
Mr. Malinsky?
Yes.
Mrs. Terry?
Yes.
Mr. Wilson?
Yes.
Terry? Yes. Mr. Acker? Yes. Mr. Azar?
Yes.
Dr. Kavin?
Yes.
Mr. Fleming?
Yes.
Mrs. Paschalski?
Yes.
9-0.
Consider a motion to appoint Angela Piga as contained in item 4.
Terry?
Yes.
Mr. Wilson?
Yes.
Mrs. Terry? Yes. Mr. Acker? Yes. Mr. Azar?
Yes.
Dr. Kavin? Yes. Mr. Fleming?
Yeah.
Mr. Malinsky?
Yes.
Mrs. Paschalski?
Yes.
9-0.
Consider a motion to appoint Soren Yadlowski and Suzanne Steck as contained in number 5.
Mr. Wilson?
Yes.
Terry? Yes. Mr. Acker? Yes. Mr. Azar?
Yes.
Dr. Kavin? Yes. Mr. Fleming?
Yes.
Mr. Malinsky?
Yes.
Mrs. Terry?
Yes.
Mrs. Paschalski?
Yes.
9-0.
Consider a motion to approve the EDR athletic positions as contained in items 6 and 7. Oh, and non-athletic. My apologies.
Mr. Acker?
Yes.
Dr. Kavin? Yes. Mr. Fleming?
Yes.
Mr. Malinsky?
Yes.
Mrs. Terry? Yes. Mr. Wilson?
Yes.
Paschalski? 9-0.
Mrs. Paschalski, would you like to do the honor of the next?
So moved.
Dr. Schaefer is here.
By all means.
Acker? Yes. Mr. Azar?
Yes.
Dr. Kavin? Yes. Mr. Fleming?
Yes.
Mr. Malinsky?
Yes.
Mrs. Terry?
Yes.
Mr. Wilson?
Yes.
Terry? Yes. Mrs. Paschalski?
Yes.
9-0.
Our new superintendent, Dr. Schaefer. Okay.
First of all, I'd like to recognize and thank for their professionalism, thoughtfulness, and just focus on high quality teaching and learning. We're evident throughout the whole process. And in part, a major part, That's why I made the decision down here. It's set off and it's about it. It truly is. This is not a job for me. It's a life decision. My youngest with me. She's the only one out of three that would travel. So I want to thank the board. And I'm just so very excited, beyond excited, and grateful to have the opportunity to learn it. So committed to that. And my daughter doesn't know this, but she's here. I tell this in front of all of her kids. She thinks her job is to critique me, so we're in the car, she's giving me feedback. She has my face. But she's here as this constant reminder of why and why I wake up every day, where I look in the mirror, I think about mom getting better. And I think about that for life. So I'm promising you that my goal, our goal is to see your expectations. That's certainly what I would want for my children. If I want that for my children, I want it for all of our children. And I look at it this way, if someone would ask me, I don't want my kids, I don't want having graduates just to be ready for college. I want to have high school graduates have a competitive advantage. I'm telling you have because they have something that nobody else has. And that's why I'm here. That's why. So, thank you so much for your time, and I look forward to coming down to see everybody talking and really learning about it. I appreciate the opportunity.
And good things are yet to come, I think, right? Anybody have any? I'm sorry, we're not going to be here. We're going to be working with them, but we'll be watching. Okay.
All right, thank you. I'd like to request the board to approve the November 2021 volunteer list.
Yes. Mr. Fleming?
Yes.
Mr. Adamski?
Yes.
Mrs. Terry? Yes. Mr. Wilson?
Yes.
Terry? Yes. Mr. Acker?
Yes.
Mr. Shalsky?
Yes.
9-0.
Consider a motion to approve the proposal for collaborative programming between the Scranton School for the Deaf and Hard of Hearing and Abington Heights School District as contained in item 3.
Dr. Kazmir? Yes. Mr. Fleming?
Yes.
Mr. Adamski?
Yes.
Mrs. Terry? Yes. Mr. Wilson?
Yes.
Mrs. Terry? Yes. Mr. Acker? Yes. Mr. Azar?
Yes.
Mrs. Shalsky?
Yes.
9-0.
Consider a motion to approve the agreement with Alliant Health for psychological evaluation services as contained in item 4.
On the question? Roll call?
Mr. Fleming?
Yes.
Mr. Adamski?
Yes.
Mrs. Terry? Yes. Mr. Wilson?
Yes.
Mrs. Terry? Yes. Mr. Acker?
Yes.
Mr. Azar?
Yes.
Dr. Kavanaugh? Yes. Mrs. Shalsky?
Yes.
9-0.
Consider a motion to approve the Abington Heights School District 2021 annual financial report as presented in item 5.
On the question? Roll call?
Mr. Adamski?
Yes.
Terry? Yes. Mr. Wilson?
Yes.
Mrs. Terry? Yes. Mr. Acker?
Yes.
Mr. Azar?
Yes.
Dr. Kavanaugh? Yes. Mr. Fleming?
Yes.
Mr. Shalsky?
Yes.
9-0.
Consider a motion to approve the agreement with Edmentum for distance learning services as contained in item 6.
So moved. Any question? When will you start? And how many weeks? When will you start?
So as soon as we get this tomorrow, reach out to them and we'll start setting up parent sessions, so parents can learn more information and then students will be enrolled for January.
We can start it. Virtual. Like, you know, we're not gonna go charter cyber, but if they have this, they might.
So we definitely discussed this, so Mr. Snyder, Mrs. Leonard, and Mr. Evans and I met with them and following kind of brief, and we discussed that we might see it, but the reality is we then need to meet with the family to talk about what their needs are and how they feel we're not meeting their needs, and it's really important.
Yeah, and I anecdotal, all the evidence we have is anecdotal through our conversations and relationships, but I do know lifting of the mask mandate will be a concern for some families at whatever point that happens, that they'll require or look to another option. And currently the other option is $11,000 and $21,000, depending on the student.
No, this is the vendor that spent a significant amount. I spent a significant amount of time with all of them, but this is the vendor that I don't compete with and alongside my life.
Mrs. Carey?
Yes.
Mr. Rolson?
Yes.
Terry?
Yes.
Mr. Amber? Yes. Mr. Azar?
Yes.
Dr. Hammond?
Yes.
Mr. Bonnie?
Yes.
Mr. Radensky?
Yes.
Mr. Charlesky?
Yes.
9-0.
Okay, the remaining items are informational. Do we have any new business?
I would like to compliment.
Thank you. I don't miss it. It's a little surreal. I've lived for 16 years.
Oh, you do.
What are we gonna do
Oh,
someday?
it's not
Okay, all business? Before we adjourn, I'd just like to take the opportunity to introduce yourself to Dr. Schaefer. We have some, I think, coffee in the back and refreshments, so feel free to mingle and introduce yourself and people more welcome. With that, our meeting is adjourned.